Hey guys, Marcus here. Welcome back to Twisted Barbell. This is week 9, test week. Are you ready to find out how I did? Alright, week 9 test week is highlighted here. Testing actually begins on day 2 and additionally on day 3 and 4. So everything else is akin to a deload week, being low in intensity and repetition. So I'm starting out with squats, warm up of 1 by 1 at 245. Then I move on to a working set of 235 pounds at 3 by 4. Things are going smoothly here. I am definitely feeling stronger with the squats and having no pain at all. So that's a definite bonus for me. The mobility exercises have worked wonders. Then we're moving on to bench press. We have a light warm up of 2 by 1. Then we move on to the working set of 4 by 4 at 195 pounds. Things are going really good. I'm feeling very strong on my bench, even the incline bench here, keeping it up at the 115 pounds. And I'm making sure I'm staying focused on the bar depth so it doesn't go lower than my chin to keep my shoulders protected. Then we move on to machine rows, and those are going really well too. Feeling strong with pretty much everything. Really no pain, no issues to speak of. So all in all, everything is great. This is 120 pounds to keep the RP down. Then we move on to lateral raises. And this is a lightweight of 12.5 pounds, again, keeping the RP down at 7, which is why I say it's more like a deload week when I'm not actually testing. Lateral raises are feeling good, really focusing on my form, no issues there. Then we move on to hanging leg raises. And this is pretty much the only core work that I'm doing aside from bracing for different exercises like deadlift and squats. So I'm happy to have something like this in the program. Once this program is over, I definitely need to get back to focusing on my core a little bit more. But all in all, this is going well, so no complaints here. Then we move on to the customary face pulls to wrap up the week, then we move on to face pulls to wrap up the workout day. And then we move on to day 2, where we're testing bench press for a 3 rep max. But before we get to that, the workout starts with pause deadlifts, keeping the RP down at 6 to 7. We're working with the 215 pounds, 4 sets of 1, but it felt so good I decided to go for another repetition because it's actually starting to feel easy for me. And I'm really happy. I know my posterior chain is getting stronger. But here we move on to the bench press test. I started with 235 pounds. That went smoothly, so I moved to 240. For 1 by 3, and I know I could have gotten extra repetition, maybe 2, so I rated this at an 8.5 RPE, and that has definitely increased my 1 rep max nicely. So here we're moving on to barbell hip thrusts, and we're keeping the RPE down, so this is at 185 pounds, 3 by 7. I know for a fact this is helping to strengthen my posterior chain nicely and contributing to my overall strength with deadlifts, so I'm really happy about that. Then we move on to tricep push downs. Again, I'm using the rope instead of the metal bars, so I'm keeping the weight down at 50, and the RP is still at about 7.5. So all good there. Then we move on to seated incline dumbbell curls. Again, this is a lightweight of 25 pounds to keep the RP down at about a 7 for a 3 by 8. No issues there. Definitely would like to get a little more bicep work in, but I'll get to that later. And then again, finishing off the workout with face pulls. We're doing 3 by 12, and I'm keeping this down at 50 pounds today, just so I can really focus on my form. But later in the week, you'll see I go back up to 60 pounds. This is definitely helpful. I feel like this is a real contributor to my posture. So I'm gonna keep doing these for sure. Then we move on to day 3, where we test squats for for a 3 rep max at 10 RPE. Anytime you see 10 RPE, that's when we're doing testing. This is the second warm-up with 225. Then I move on to the working set of 275 to test my 3 rep max. Repetition 2, as you can see, gets a little sticky there, but I pulled through it and actually get my 3rd rep and a 4th rep. And I know I could have done a 5th rep, so I rate this at a 9 RP, which calculates my 1 rep max at about 313 pounds, which is great because my short-term goal is 315 pounds, 345 plates per side, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm pretty sure once we get to the second and final test week at the end of the program, week 13, I'll be able to do a 1 rep max of 315 pounds. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we move on to lat pull downs, keeping the weight light at 120 And then we're moving on to single arm dumbbell shoulder presses. This is 9 repetitions for 3 sets, keeping the weight down at 35 pounds, again to keep the RPE down to a relatively low 7.5 RPE. No problems there. We're moving on to skull crushers. The weight is low here again because, again, keeping the RPE down. Anytime we're not testing, the RPE is down, and this is why I say this is more like a deload week for me before moving into the peak week or the peak block, the 3rd block of the training program. So peak 1 begins next week, but the skull crushers go well. I actually go for 15 repetitions on my last set because it feels good. And then we move on to the easy bar curl. Again, this is a lightweight. This is 45 pounds to keep the RPE down again to 7.5. And then again, face pulls in here. I'm back to 60 pounds. Still focusing on my mechanics and the form, but at 60 pounds, this is still going well. Sorry. And then today we actually test deadlift, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't gotten to that workout yet. That's later on today, so I'll get back to that and finish this up. All right, so day 4 here, we are testing deadlifts, 1x3 for maximum at an RPE of 10. Here I'm starting out with 275, and we managed to do the 3 pulls, no problem. But then I decided let's test a little higher because that didn't seem that difficult. And if I really want to get close to an RPE of 10, I figured I wanted to increase the weight. So I added 2 5-pound plates on each side for a total of 285. Although I'll be honest, it wasn't extremely difficult. It was challenging, but I'm not crazy about my form here. Nonetheless, I got it banged out. And this is putting my 1 rep max at around 315 also. So finally, to finish off, no more testing. We did the big 3 already, squat, bench, and deadlifts. Now we're just finishing off the workout at a low 6 to 7.5 RPE. So I'm doing 3 count pause bench press. On my last set, I decided to bang out an extra 3 regular repetitions, no pause count because I already completed the pause count. And then I move on to Bulgarian split squats. This I'm still obviously using a 35-pound kettlebell. No issues with that, it's going smoothly. And then we move on to leg extensions from that point. So all in all, so far I've been feeling really good with the program. And you know, it's been a pretty good journey. I'm surprising myself each week. I have 3 more weeks left. I have the peak block now for 3 more weeks of peak 1, 2, and 3. Then the 4th week from that point, week 13, is actually the real test, if you will, because I'll be testing my max again, and I'll probably go for a 3 rep max, or maybe I'll just do a 1 rep max. We'll see. That might be the best choice since I already did a 3 rep max this week. But we'll see how that goes. All in all, I'm really happy with the program, the structure of it, the way it's pushed me, the strength increases that I've gained. So I'm looking forward to banging out this next month and seeing how this goes for my 1 rep max. This workout here is pretty much done. I finish off with some rear delt cable pulls or band pulls, and that's pretty much it. So if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'll catch you next week. Take care.